Hello and welcome to the Video Academy. In this video we'll be looking at adaptive bitrate streaming, or over-the-top as it's commonly called. This mechanism for distributing video is booming, and services using OTT are appearing every day. We'll be looking at how BridgeTech probes monitor OTT adaptive streams. We won't be looking at the adaptive streaming process itself, but how the probes access and monitor these streams. OTT is available as a licensable option on all BridgeTech probes. VB1 and 2 series probes can monitor up to 100 adaptive streams, and the VB330 monitors up to 500 streams. It's worth remembering that OTT monitoring, unlike say multicast monitoring, is an active process. In order to monitor an OTT stream, the probe must request and receive video segments. This generates traffic that is in addition to commercial customer traffic. We're going to look at the 10 gig core probe. It's a VB330 and has 50 OTT engines, capable of analysing up to 500 streams using round-robin techniques. I'm going to click on the OTT tab. The first view we see is the Active Testing tab. Let's take a closer look at this section. Clicking on the blue information icon will bring up a new window, and we'll look at that in more detail later. But for now, let's look at the other features of this page. As elsewhere on BridgeTech probes, the bulb indicates the condition of the stream. Green indicates a stream with no current problems. Other colours are yellow, orange and red, depending on the severity and type of alarm. The next column along is the thumbnail column. Only HLS or HDS can be decoded, and even then only when unencrypted. The next column is the stream name. The progress column indicates where in the testing process this particular stream is. It gives an active indication that testing is taking place. The next column shows the alarm history over the last 2 hours. And as with all BridgeTech probe graphs, you can mouse over this graph and see details of individual errors. Current profile status shows the last tested state of all of the profiles in a particular stream. You can see that the rectangles indicate the error condition of individual profiles. The number of rectangles corresponds to the number of profiles, which is also indicated in the next column. The following column simply tells you whether the stream is encrypted or not, and following that is the profile information, which indicates the stream type. BridgeTech probes support HLS, HDS, SmoothStreaming, MPEG-DASH and RTMP. And the final column indicates which of the 50 OTT engines on this VB330 is testing the stream. Clicking on the blue information button pops up a second window. Now we can see more details of the stream and its profiles. The information at the top of the window is the same as the main Active Testing tab, and below we can see more information about the individual profiles. This NASA TV stream has 3 profiles, 200, 400 and 1000 kilobits per second respectively. We can also see that it's a live feed rather than a VOD feed. Profile health shows the last 2 hours of activity for each profile. Profile BPS is the rate indicated in the manifest file, and actual BPS is what the probe measures. Although it's common for the profile and actual bit rates to differ, they shouldn't differ by so much that the player application might fail. The percentage difference is user settable. Download BPS is a measure of the speed at which the probe could download the chunks. Chunk length indicates the length of the individual video files. 2, 3, 5 and 10 seconds are all common chunk lengths. The next 2 columns show how long the last chunk took to download and its size in kilobits. And finally, the HTTP header may be inspected by clicking on the relevant link. The Manifest tab allows us to examine all of the manifest files associated with this stream. I can click on the manifest file itself. This opens a new tab in my browser. I can open the stream manifest files or any of the profile manifests. In the Alarms tab, you can see any outstanding alarms grouped into 3 different types: transport alarms, HTTP alarms, and XML alarms. If we look at the Apple Keynote VOD stream, we can see several cleared alarms in the history. The Thumbnail tab allows us to select any of the profiles and decode a thumbnail. This of course assumes either HLS or HDS and unencrypted. Select any profile using the pull down and click Apply. Auto will decode the first available profile. The Alignment tab allows chunk alignment to be checked. When the chunk sequence numbers match, the thumbnail should also match. If there's any discrepancy, then there may be a problem with profile manifests. Configuring a stream to be monitored is straightforward. Click on the Channels tab. Here we can see the stream name, the URL and the selected threshold. You can also assign the engine to do the testing and select whether to enable or disable this particular stream. Configuring a new channel is simple. Add a new channel or duplicate an existing one, give it a name, and paste in the URL if you've copied it from some other source. Select a threshold and either use an unused engine for uninterrupted testing or an engine already in use for round-robin testing. Remember to click the Enable checkbox. Check thumbnail if you require one and alignment if you want to test alignment. These last two, thumbnail decoding and alignment checking, do put additional load onto the probe. Click or control click any of the streams to delete or edit them. The Settings tab controls how fast the streams are tested. As you can see, this probe it's currently set to 5 seconds. This means that when any particular stream is tested, if the test of all profiles in the stream is completed in, say, 3 seconds, the OTT engine will idle for 2 seconds before starting again. If the testing takes 7 seconds, then the engine will resume as soon as the test has finished. The Threshold tab allows alarm thresholds to be set for specific streams. In common with all threshold settings elsewhere on the probe, OTT thresholds are shown in the form of a table. Each threshold has a name and the number of streams referencing it. The other columns show the threshold settings. We can add a new threshold from scratch or use an existing threshold as a template by duplicating it. These thresholds can look a little confusing to start with, so let's work through an example of how these figures are calculated. The first two thresholds, profile bitrate error and warning, are the download speed thresholds. So, for an error threshold of 100%, if a 10-second chunk takes 10 seconds or 100% of its time to download, this will produce an error. If it takes, say, 12 seconds, this of course will also generate an error, this time of 120%. If the same 10-second chunk takes between 9 and 10 seconds, it will exceed the 90% warning threshold and generate a warning alarm. The next two thresholds, actual bitrate min and max, determine how far above and below the bitrate signalled in the manifest the actual bitrate is allowed to vary. Let's have a look at this in a bit more detail. In this example of NRK2, we'll look at the 800 kilobit per second profile. The The actual bitrate, as measured by the probe, is currently 656 kilobits per second. The actual bitrate divided by the indicated bitrate multiplied by 100 gives a percentage of 82. This is well within the boundaries of 50% and 200%. In fact, the 800 kilobit per second profile would need to go below 400 kilobits per second or above 1600 kilobits per second in order to generate an error. Actual bit rates almost always differ from the manifest indicated bit rates. That's why the upper and lower limits are set so large. Don't forget that the OTT option is licensable on all BridgeTech probes. From the VB12 to the VB330, comprehensive adaptive bitrate testing may be carried out. OTT testing will check out the media on the origin server and all the network infrastructure between the origin server and the probe. And remember the portable pocket probe. This iOS and Android app sits on a smartphone or tablet and will do active OTT testing in exactly the same way as our main system probes. That concludes our walkthrough of active ABR monitoring on BridgeTech probes. OTT monitoring is available on all BridgeTech probes. 50 streams are testable on the VB1 and 2 series probes, and up to 500 streams are testable on the VB330. OTT testing supports HLS, HDS, SmoothStreaming, MPEG-DASH and RTMP formats. Monitoring will check the validity of stream and profile manifest files. Chunk sequence numbers are checked, as well as the time taken to download the chunks. Manifest indicated bit rates and actual bitrate measurements are compared. And there's a graphical display of stream and profile health over the last 2 hours. We hope you found this video interesting and useful. Be sure to check out the others in the series. If you've got any ideas for videos you'd like to see, email us with your suggestion. Bridge Technologies offers a full 2-day technical training course covering all aspects of probe and VBC operation, as well as a theoretical background. Training can take place in our purpose-built training centre at our Oslo HQ, or it can be delivered at your own premises. If you want to contact us, visit our website or email us at training@bridgetech.tv.